Hello there everybody, Adam Cleary here for WhatCulture Gaming, and it is now time for me, a grown-ass man, to talk to you about Pokémon. Yes. Alright, a little bit of background for you here. It was coming up Christmas 1999 and I was asked what I, a good boy that year, wanted for Christmas, and I said I would like Pokémon Blue. Now my mother, the poor thing, not exactly flush for cash, looked at the cost of a Game Boy Color game and thought, do you know what? He probably deserves that. But then fast forward like a week and a half later to my birthday, January the 5th, she asked me what I wanted and I said, I'd like a Game Boy Color to play it on. Played an absolute blinder there, didn't I? Because she'd never have got me the Game Boy for Christmas, so yeah, well done me. Anyway, my point is, I got that first generation Pokemon game and the console to go with it. And this is a pattern I repeated throughout my entire life, through university, through my adult life, through being genuinely old now. When a new Pokemon game comes out, I buy it, and if I have to go buy a new Nintendo handheld or a Nintendo console to play it on, I do that as well. They are the most expensive games in the world to me. But the thing is, I don't mind saying it, I am kind of a successful guy, so it's not really a big deal. So last year, I went and I bought myself a Nintendo Switch. This Nintendo Switch purely to play Pokemon Sword on. You can see there, it's the first game I installed. And I got about 10 hours into that, maybe 15, and just went, this isn't very good. I finished Blue, I finished Yellow, I finished Gold, I finished Crystal, I finished Sapphire, I finished Fire Red, I finished Emerald, I finished Pearl, I finished Platinum, I finished Heart Gold, I finished White, I finished White 2 somehow, I finished Y, I finished Omega Ruby, I finished Moon, I finished Ultra Sun, I finished Let's Go Eevee, but I could not finish Sword. And why did I not finish this game? Well, I'm going to tell you why I didn't finish this game, but it feels like it's a good time to talk about Pokemon as a franchise and where it's got to go in the future. If it can lose me, a man who literally goes and buys consoles purely to play them, and it hasn't even done anything drastically different with this one, something is wrong. So, my name is Adam Cleary, and this is my Pokemon video. Alright, so sorry, that was quite a rambling, long introduction, but it is kind of going to be relevant in the context of all of this. It's like a video essay. You've got to set your stall out if you want to get all the marks at the end. Anyway, the whole problem with Sword is it was no different to anything Pokemon had ever really done before. Now, that shouldn't be a problem, because that's always true. They never change anything. You are a trainer, you are starting out on your journey, there are gym challenges to complete, there is an evil team to thwart, and at the end you are crowned Pokemon Master. Yes, occasionally they'll tweak what the team is or how you win the badges or something like that, but by and large it's always the same formula, and it was the same here. So why was it suddenly bad? Well, the very short version of this video is that the problem is this. You see, in order to fully comprehend why it's a problem on the Switch, you have to think about what Pokemon usually does when it's making new generations. And the answer to that is not really a whole lot. Game Freak have always sat there and gone, well, we have this core formula. What we need to do is improve the quality of the gaming experience, not the gaming experience itself. And it's always just little stuff, like you didn't need HM slaves anymore because they were items you had unlimited uses for. That was a ball ache they finally got rid of. Then they split special attack and special defense up because it made the battles slightly more intuitive and made a lot more sense. They put the name rater and the move deleter in every single Pokemon Center, so you didn't have to hunt around all over the world for stuff like that. They brought in ways to get the EVs up and to get the experience good without ruining all the stats. They basically just look at how people play these games and go, right, okay, what's one little thing we can do that will make it more fun? And Gen 8 had some of these little changes here and there. They did definitely look at the overall Pokemon experience and work out how they could improve it. And as they've been prone to doing in recent years, they threw in a giant big gimmick as well, which will no doubt be forgotten in time for Gen 9. The giant Pokemon thing. Like, it doesn't change Pokemon as a game, but it gives you something new to do with it. They did not change much. And that is why this is the problem, because the Nintendo Switch, yes, it is Nintendo's latest handheld console, but it is also an in-home console. It sits there right next to my PlayStation or your Xbox or something like that, not in a drawer for when you go on a long bus trip. Yes, it does do that as well, admittedly, but the power it has is more comparable to a proper in-home console rather than, say, your mobile phone. And the problem with Pokemon Sword and Shield was it didn't feel like that. We've played Breath of the Wild, we've played Luigi's Mansion, we've seen what this console can do, so the possibilities for a Pokemon game on this system felt just unbelievable. Like all the things we've always wanted to do, but they've been restrained by the handheld device. It's just, that didn't matter anymore. They could have this huge expansive region. They could have all like 900 Pokemon or however many it is now. They could do everything you've ever wanted to do with a Pokemon game, and they didn't. They just made small changes. Yeah, do you know what? It was a critical and commercial success. It reviewed really well. It made absurd sums of money because it was always going to. Every generation of Pokemon game does that. But Game Freak looked at it, knew they would probably make a load of money anyway, and just thought, let's take the next natural steps. Let's make it look a bit better if it doesn't play a bit better. They made another handheld game when they could have made a console game. Like, I remember seeing a load of memes doing the rounds when Skyrim was like having its big explosion. Somebody said, can you imagine if they did this with Pokemon? So you just wandered around, first person, you were the trainer, and they were just there all the time. It was an expansive MMO, like enormous world kind of thing, but it was Pokemon, and we realised that the reason they can't ever make that game is because society would shut down. Don't get me wrong, the Galar region is the most expansive thing they've ever done. It is the biggest scope, the biggest scale, but how can you not do that when it's going to be on the Switch? It literally took one big step forward and then stopped short of just running wild with the idea. The amount of restraint that must have gone into designing that game, something so small on a console so powerful, is just absurd. Like, yes, it feels like a massive step up next to the handheld titles we've been getting, but again, compare it to Zelda, compare it to Luigi's Mansion, compare it to stuff that's going to come out in the next 12 months. It's just, it underwhelms. And yes, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, they're going to expand it even more, so it's going to be bigger in size. But again, that scope for what you could do with the game, how big you could make it feel, that doesn't change. These are just more areas to run around in. I think I'm being unkind here. Just think about how many Pokemon are actually in this game. The tagline of the entire series is gotta catch them all, and they put less than half of them in there. Like, not in the same way that Red and Blue used to put like half of them in there and you get them both and you would catch them all. They were all there though. Like, they looked at this game and thought, yeah, let's not make it feel like a Nintendo Switch game. Let's not even put all the Pokemon in it. And yeah, alright, what am I going to do? Sit here for 40 hours and catch all 809 species? No, probably not, but the very fact that they only put half of them in shows that this was like a half a job. It just shows how much they held back. Now, I am aware that, yes, I did sort of promise you a video on the future of Pokemon. Here I am moaning about a game that came out, like, what, last year? I've lost all track of time in 2020. So, what can they learn? What can they change about all of this? Well, I'll tell you. Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra are addressing problems with the current game. They're adding more Pokemon, they're adding little tweaks here and there to make the gaming experience more enjoyable. The traditional changes to a Pokemon game, but they don't suggest there's going to be any radical overhaul anytime soon. If that's going to come, it's going to have to come in Gen 9. And while it is good that they're recognizing some of the shortcomings of the game and moving to address them, like, I think they just banned like 20 Pokemon or something because they were getting overused or they were too strong in battle. They clearly are listening to the community and changing stuff, but it's just, there needs to be such a big mindset change. And while I'm on the subject of battles, we really do need to talk about those because we are on the flippin' Nintendo Switch now, and most Pokemon moves still don't have a dedicated animation. Like 98% of every move you can do in that game, the Pokemon just kind of shuffles forward or does a thing, and it's the same generic stock thing, one or two different animations every single time. How is that possible? How are Game Freak gonna sit there and say we could only put 400 Pokemon in this game because we needed to make sure we got those ones right rather than rushing all of them in, and then still let me use double kick and have a Pokemon do this? And genuinely, I think that's why Generation 9 is probably going to be the most important, possibly even a make or break installment in the franchise, because Pokemon now has a lot of imitators and a lot of competitors, and they all know this. They know that the animations in battles aren't particularly engrossing because, of course, they've got over 800 Pokemon. How can they animate them all? So these other games are focusing on smaller and smaller teams and doing more with those. Now, bear in mind, you can only have 6 Pokemon on you at any given time. What purpose is served having a game where you stretch playability among 800 different characters when you can only use 6? Would it not be better to have like 30 or 40 and everyone does really cool things? Yes, it would. Like, look at Temtem. That thing is a goddamn phenomenon. I know there's been all kinds of, like, Pokemon killers come along over the last 20 years, but this one really feels like it's just tapping into that unfulfilled potential that Pokemon currently has on the Switch. All the things that frustrate you about that, it feels like it's addressing those before it's doing anything else. It's drawing me to the dark side. While we're on the subject of that, that is an online multiplayer game. You know, like the core conceit of about 90% of successful video games these days, when Nintendo were just like, no, don't go online and play. Just either sit down and have a nice experience yourself, or bring your friends over and do something communal. That is lovely. Its heart is in the right place, but they don't like doing multiplayer games, and that could really hurt Pokemon in the long run. So it is absolutely vital that they get Generation 9 right. They need to sit down and have a really long, hard think about what they want Pokemon to be over the next 20 years, because it was a genre-busting, like, game-changing franchise when it first came out. Nobody really appreciated the scope or the replayability or just the sheer addictiveness of it all, the creature design, all of that, and now laurels are being rested on. It isn't challenging, it isn't pushing itself, it isn't even pushing the console that it's on. So if they're going to cement its legacy as a genuine game worth playing that's going to attract new players and new generations for its own generations, they need to do something profound. They need to rip up everything and build a proper in-home console Pokemon game. They need to build Skyrim in Johto, I think. Now, yes, I will say they don't have to do that. Actually, they can just make another middle-of-the-road, not really putting too much thought into a Pokemon game, and it will sell millions of copies, and I will probably have another go at that because I'll have read a review that says, oh, it's actually succeeding, where Sword and Shield failed. But this franchise has meant so much to me. Like, in my entire adult life, I have been a Pokemon fan, and all through my teenage years, and even a little bit before that as well. It was a goddamn Olympic sport in my high school, and I was not the king, but I sat on the same dinner table as the king. And I know what it could be. And I think everybody there watching this video knows what it could be. And I think Game Freak, more importantly, know what it could be. So just give us it. Let it be what it can be. Really, just make the game, man. So yes, there you go, an entire video that just boils down to me saying to Game Freak, please make a game. That's good. Let us know what you made of it all in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Get me on Twitter at Adam Cleary, CLERY. Please, my God, take your hand off your face. Go have a big drink of water as well while you're at it. That'll be good for you. Thank you for joining us on WhatCulture Gaming. I've already done my name. Goodbye.